Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name's Brian, and we got this old 1968 C10 that I've cut down, made into a short bed, put a 5.3 liter and a 4L60 in, and we got to get all this tape off this thing, fellas. This tape's been on here for way too long, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the front sheet metal off here. Now you've got you got to take the cowl panel off back here. Got a couple of bolts. There's no screws across the middle, so yay, that'll make that easy. Bolt at the bottom of the fender, 2 at the top. Then you've got 2 bolts back here. Only 1 is in. Yay. And then on the grill, there should be 2 bolts at the top, 2 bolts at the bottom. There's just 1 in each one of those spots. And then I'm going to take these out. There's 3 bolts connecting the latch assembly to the core support. We're going to get those out of the way. Pull both front fenders off. Hey, that front fender doesn't even have a bolt in the bottom. So this should be a pretty like quick release front end. And we'll get all that off just to make it easier to work on this 5.3. I'm going to go ahead and get my harness all stretched out, plugged in. I got a set of coils to put in. I got my ECM here. Got a lot of little odds and ends to tie up just to try to get this thing where it is more complete. All the holes are plugged, or the sensor wire spots are all plugged. The coils are all plugged in and everything. I'm going to try to get it closer to where maybe sometime mid-January we can fire this dude up. So, hey, enough talking. Let's do some work. Yeah, this is where we're at. The labeling person did a super nice job labeling all the wires for me. Too bad the tape stuck together, and who knows. The guy that pulled the motor, he did cut a couple of wires, but I don't think we need any of those. We got, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff to put together, and we're just going to keep going at it. So, here's the website, lt1swap.com. This guy has tons of information out there on the internet for free. He does ask that if you use his info, please support his YouTube channel. Send your ECM to him to get it programmed. I mean, he's a super good guy and tons of good information. We have everything we need to kind of get the wires hooked up that we need on this. All right, so I did get a lot of the labels pulled off these wires. I mean, that's simple. It's just a ground wire. I have my injectors run. They're not snapped in or anything because who knows, I may end up pulling this all back off again. Coils plugged in. I have my starter dug out. It needs to be bolted to the motor. And I have all these connectors all go down to the starter area of the engine. I need to get them run up underneath there. I pulled all this stuff apart. I was gonna build a harness or go through the directions on the internet. I think I'm gonna end up using this fuse block and running a few more accessories possibly than I would just by making a simple standalone harness. This stuff is bulky, but it's built really nice. So I think that's the plan, is to put the stock fuse block in it along with this fuse block and then integrate the two together. We'll see how that works out. I'm still reading and learning how to go about it and trying to sort out what's going to work best for this project. All right, so kind of changed places with the old harness here, and you can see I've been pulling wires out of this connector. I believe that this is going to be the C1 connector. I printed this all out from lt1swap.com, but when I got into it, he really doesn't like to use the factory fuse box, which is what we've got here. So I went and I looked at some other suggested videos, and I found one on Half-Ass Customs channel. Yeah, he's a pretty cool Canadian guy. You ought to check his channel out. He's got some awesome videos. You're probably already subscribed to his channel, but he has a pretty simple way of doing stuff, and he explains it well. So I'm using his example, and you end up with that many wires in this plug or connector. Then we're going to go to this connector next, and we're going to be left with this wire right here. This is for the fuel pump power. This is to trigger the starter if it's in park. And then one of these is like a coil wire. One of them is 12 volts and it feeds other fuses inside of the box. So I'll give a few details of what's going on, but really I think I should just put a link to his channel up there. Now these connectors are kind of crazy. I don't know, you all may have done a ton of these kind of things, but you have this, it slides in to lock your harness in place, and they'll apparently only go in the side that they came out of. Maybe it goes like this. Yeah, there we go. One way. So that'll hold that wire in there really well. I think it's like a positive assurance lock. Then these are what the connectors look like when you pull them out of the block. And to get them out, I just used a pick tool with the blue part of that pulled out. And you get in here where the wire is, and you press in between the wire and the plastic, and you can feel it kind of dislodge. And I found if I just rotate the pick back a little bit, it'll get the connector started coming out of there, or the terminal started coming out, and then you can just pull them out. I started to cut them all, and I thought, man, I may need some of these wires, and having those connectors already on it or terminals on there, that'd be pretty nice to be able to just plug back in. This is kind of where I'm at right now. I believe that this is all you have to have in the fuse block to make it run. So you do get down to 4 main wires plus all the wires for the injectors and everything are in this center plug. I'd tell you what number it is, but my sheet fell down. and you end up with a pile of stuff in the floor like this. And I still have the rest of this harness laying under me. I'm going to continue working on it, but I can only do a little bit here and there. So I'm trying to do it in steps where I weed out all the unneeded wires in this fuse block. Then possibly the next thing will be to go into the actual connectors for the computer. And again, you can go to LT1 Swap and get some awesome information for doing this. It's just he doesn't use this factory fuse box very often, and he doesn't really show what all you weed out. That's where I went to the video. So lots of videos out there totally gutting the harness and making it a small harness. I don't know that I care about that. I just want to get this thing where it'll run and be able to do it as on a budget. So, yep, I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Well, there you go, guys. The shop chicken, he's not doing much helping right now. The other helper's down here sleeping. And we've got this harness back off of the vehicle. I thought maybe laying it out like this might help explain some of it. You can kind of see how much wiring there is involved. Really, all this stuff has connectors that it needs to plug into on the engine or transmission. And then I've got our gas pedal up here because this is a drive-by-wire setup. You can see my fuse block here. These wires get connected directly to a battery source. These 3 wires are the only wires that you really have to get this thing going. You're going to have a ground involved there as well, but not much. You can see we got the ECM over here, those plugs. So the wiring loom is not very long to that. That's why I'm thinking about mounting that up in the front fender, this on the fender well, and we'll get as much length out of this as we can going back in towards the engine or the interior of the truck. I'm sorry. Then this lug bolts onto the side of the alternator. And you have all these wires that come underneath the engine. They all end up on the passenger side of the block and the starter. Coming on around, this ball of wires here, it goes over the back of the motor towards the transmission, your O2 sensors. Yeah, it gets all those connections at the back end. And then here we've got coil pack, throttle. Okay, that side of the motor. This stuff here, I don't know exactly what all that is. Somebody was nice and cut the plug off for us. So don't really know there. The other injector wiring is back here. This sits right on top of the intake manifold. So that goes down close. And then of course you have this wiring loom that runs off the motor down to the fuse block. All right, so I'll bring you guys in. Now I've got my trans harness run back to the back. Still have a mess of wires over here. They're going to go to the coils and all that stuff. This side, nothing's plugged in. It's just kind of laid out where it needs to go. And this big wire, she's going to run over. This is going to sit up probably somewhere in this neighborhood. And our ECM will mount up here or over here, up inside of the fender somewhere. Now I'm going to have to put the core support on this and an inner fender well. We're going to have to switcheroo on the battery tray to get it on this side. So our battery sits right here. And man, then we'll have a lot of this engine side of this swap taken care of. I still have to order a fuel pump for it, figure out the fuel tank, get my gas pedal inside. I did wipe a bunch of dust off. So you can kind of see it's actually a flat, solid brown inside. And then it's a brown color on the outside, but it's a really pretty brown. paint vehicles all different colors. So the brown, I mean, I think it'll be cool. It'll be something a little bit different on this old truck. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Give it a thumbs up. So consider subscribing to the channel. We'll catch you on the next one.